is enough said.
What up, Heat Nation? Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday so far. Don't forget to show your support, like the video, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to click that notification bell. It really means a lot that you guys support the channel. Now that we got that out the way, please join me as we go on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. A couple things I want to talk about today, you guys. First and foremost, the whole breaking news situation that's going on. Shams Charania reported that Damian Lillard has re-signed with the Portland Trail Blazers on a 3-year, $42 million contract. And damn, if you want to talk about fleecing this offseason, there's been teams that have fleeced other teams in trades. There's been players that have gotten contracts. But ain't nobody fleeced the NBA more than Damian Lillard. This dude was waived and stretched for his $120 million contract. He was supposed to make it in the next 2 years. Milwaukee waived and stretched him. So that means they're going to be paying him $22.5 million for the next 5 years. And then on top of that, he'll be making $42 million for the next 3 years in Portland. That's an average of $14 million per season. So this dude is going to be making $36 million a year for the next 3 years by both teams, and then $22.5 million for the next 2 years after that. Damian Lillard is going to get paid for the next few years. And look, a lot of us can knock Damian Lillard. I know he had a lot of options with contenders. Miami was interested. There was rumors about Boston, maybe the Lakers, the Clippers. There was a lot of teams that came up. Damian Lillard could have chose where he wanted to go. But I think he went to Portland for two main reasons, two obvious reasons. The first one, he spends 11 years of his, of the beginning of his career there. He has a home in Portland. His kids are in Portland. He's familiar with Portland. When he left Portland, I mean, if you could ask the dude in his private life, that's when things started going downhill. The whole divorce thing, things weren't working in Portland. He got injuries. I think the way that he's thinking about it, man, is, he was in Portland for 11 years. He wanted to go somewhere else, try to win. He did that. He wasn't successful. So he wants to be happy and he wants to go back home. But the second reason is dude got that bag. And I understand that $14 million a year from Portland ain't the bag. But with what he's making in both Milwaukee and Portland, I mean, damn, Damian Lillard's going to be eating good for the next few years. So congratulations on Damian Lillard. Now, I know there were a few people out there, myself included, that was liking the idea of Damian Lillard possibly joining the Miami Heat on maybe a 2-year, $10 million contract, which he got way more from Portland. But, to have him rehab this year and then come next year and have a prove it to me year. But obviously Damian Lillard didn't want to do that. And there was another report by multiple sources that the Miami Heat weren't even interested in bringing Damian Lillard. They didn't even make an offer. They didn't even make a try. I mean, there were reports that there was some interest, but interest can be really stretched out. And when you think about it, you guys, it makes a lot of sense. The Miami Heat are moving with this youth movement unless a star player becomes available. Like I've mentioned this in the past, but here's the great thing about this team. It's a young team. It's going to be a fun roster next season. You're going to have Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware. If you keep Wiggins, you have Davion Mitchell, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic. This team is going to be very fun next year. But we've kept all of our assets to the point that we can trade for a big name player if they become available. But that got me thinking. Now that the whole Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard situation is solved, I think you're going to start seeing a more competitive market for other players now. Because I think a lot of players were kind of waiting and seeing what Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard did. Because we knew that Bradley Beal was in talks with Phoenix for a few days, if not weeks, about a potential buyout. And you had a lot of teams that were interested in Beal because they knew they could get him on the low. There were also probably a lot of teams that are thinking, let's go after Dame. Like, we can get Dame. Yeah, he's not going to play next year, but 2027, we can get Dame back and he can help us. And we can get him on the low. Now that those two guys are gone, I think that you're going to see the market open up. The crazy thing is with the new collective bargaining agreements, players aren't really going to be getting the contracts they used to get. You know, you have players that are restricted free agents just sitting there in restricted free agency. Guys like Josh Giddey, guys like Jonathan Kuminga. You know, these are guys that are just sitting there in restricted free agency because teams are just waiting to see what they want to do. Because now other teams can't just throw money away where the teams have to match it. Now with these new apron lines, teams are watching what they spend. It's crazy. It's insane the way the new NBA structure, the new collective bargaining agreement works. Shout out to CJ McCollum for ruining these players' lives. Anyways, guys, getting to the topic of the video. I want to talk about what point guards that are available could work with this Miami Heat team. We did an episode about a week ago talking about the potential of getting centers with Precious Achiuwa, Nikola Vucevic if he's traded, you know, the possibility of Vlad Golden being an option. I'll be honest with you, Vlad Golden's on a two-way contract. As much as people really like him and love the potential upside, I think it's a Omar Yurtseven situation again. I mean, he has promise, but this is not a guy that you can install right now. You need, you know, if you're going to get someone that can help this team, especially with the final spot of your, you know, roster spot, you want to get someone that's proven and experienced. And in today's episode, I want to talk about point guard specifically because the reason why, you guys, this Miami Heat has a really good guard rotation. We have Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, and Davion Mitchell. You can start Tyler Hero and Norman Powell or Tyler Hero and Davion Mitchell. Honestly, it's really not a bad decision. You can even go matchup-wise. Kasparas Yakachonis. I think he's going to need more time. I don't think he's going to be ready to go, especially with what we've seen from Summer League. I think it's going to be a developmental project. I hope it's soon because I'm telling y'all, that's going to be the point guard. The floor general point guard, that's going to be Kasparas Yakachonis. But I don't think it's going to be this year. So I think it would be smart if the Miami Heat were to add another point guard on this roster. And it's funny because I talked about the guard rotation and you guys are noticing I'm not mentioning Terry Rozier, who's the other point guard we have. That pendejo is only on this team because he's just a trade chip. The Heat want to use his contract to send him out for another player if it's possible for them to get one. Because that's another thing, guys. The Heat have set themselves up for a potential trade if a player becomes available, like Giannis or someone else, or LeBron. But right now, the Heat are on a holding pattern with that. So what they're doing is that they're having all of these young assets go, but they have their chips prepared if they want to go all in for a star. But the perfect idea, the perfect option would be buy out Terry Rozier, pick up a point guard and a center to add on this roster. That would make this roster even better. It would make them a lot better than what they were a few days ago, in my opinion. But right now, we got to see what happens with the whole gambling situation with Rozier. We're stuck with him at this point. You can trade him to another team and then they can waive him or buy him out. But right now, you're holding him because of his value. His expiring contract has value, especially in today's NBA collective bargaining agreement. Now, there's specific players I want to talk about, you guys. I mean, there's a few point guards out there, few guards even, that I feel like that can fit with this Miami Heat team. You know, you can get Ben Simmons on the cheap, but Ben Simmons is god-awful offensively. You can get Malcolm Brogdon. You know, Malcolm Brogdon's still available. He had an injury-riddled season last year, averaged almost 13 points a game. But Malcolm Brogdon's game is very similar to Tyler Hero and Norman Powell. And the fact that we have Davion Mitchell, I don't know. I don't think it'll fit. So there's a few different point guards I want to talk about. First one, which I think could be the best option for the Miami Heat if they're able to get him. Russell Westbrook. Hear me out. Russell Westbrook declined his $3.5 million player option with Denver. Here in Florida, there's no state taxes, and you can give Russell Westbrook the biannual exception, which is $5 million. At 13 points a game, 6 assists, 5 rebounds a game, 1.5 steal per game, playing 75 games, averaging 28 minutes per night, that is well-deserved of $5 million a year. And I understand, Russell Westbrook's a knucklehead. He's not a good three-point shooter. But you know what Russell Westbrook is? A dog. And one of the most intense players that you've ever seen. This Miami Heat team does not have Udonis Haslem anymore. They remember that game last year against Chicago, against Houston, where the only person that stepped up for Tyler Hero was Terry Rozier, who we don't want on this team, you need a dog on this roster. Russell Westbrook is going to be that dog. And remember, when Jimmy Butler was that guy here, other players fed off of that. Russell Westbrook can give that intensity, that locker room leadership that we need. We don't have Kevin Love. We don't have Udonis Haslem. We don't have these veterans anymore. This is a young team. You put a guy like Russell Westbrook on this roster, he can take the leadership. You know, he knows the Miami Heat system. He's played against the Miami Heat a lot. He's a very intense guy. He'll feel great. He'll fit great with this Miami Heat culture. And at $5 million per year, you guys, I wouldn't mind giving Russell Westbrook a 1-year deal. Now, chances are Russell may want to go to a team that has a better chance of winning a championship. And besides, being on this roster with Davion Mitchell, Tyler Hero, and Norman Powell, he may not get enough minutes. But that's definitely a possibility. Another guy that I'm looking at, y'all, Chris Paul. I know that I reported that Chris Paul most likely is going to join the Clippers, but it hasn't been done yet. And after they just got, Bradley Beal, and they also have Chris Dunn, there's a possibility where they may not need Chris Paul. It hasn't been confirmed that Chris Paul is going there, you guys. And I mean, at a biannual exception, again, at a $5 million contract, you're getting a guy last year who averaged 9 points a game, 7.5 assists, played all 82 games at 28 minutes a game. He gives you a veteran, leadership. It's a guy that can help you out there on the floor. I really think that Russell, that Chris Paul can be a great option for this Miami Heat team. Now, the chances on the Miami Heat getting him, honestly, guys, very slim. I really don't see it happening. I would see Russell Westbrook being more of a realistic option rather than, Chris Paul. But this next guy that I'm going to talk about, you guys, who's still available and I think embodies Miami Heat culture, he's not a point guard, but he does play the shooting guard, point guard position. Gary Payton Jr., guys. Gary Payton Jr. is known for his hustle, his tenacity. He's 32 years old, so he's not a much older, like a younger guy like a lot of the players on this roster, but he's not a super old player either. He's a guy that's a grit and grind type of player. He's not known for needing the ball in his hands. Last year he played 62 games, averaged 6.5 points a game, 3 rebounds, but only 15 minutes a game. But you know what you get with Gary Payton Jr. You get hustle, you get intensity, you get that dog-like mentality. This is a guy that can help you, especially the games where Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, and Davion Mitchell might miss some time. They all don't play 82 games. Gary Payton can step up. He can be that culture guy, that microwave spark off the bench. But then the final option, bring back Alec Burks. Alec Burks was the microwave that came off the bench last year. He's a spark plug that comes off the bench that can score. Why not bring back a guy who, when you needed a bucket, this was a guy that you can go to? So Heat Nation, I want to hear from you. Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Gary Payton II, Alec Burks. Do you think any of these players would be a good fit for that final roster spot? Or maybe it's someone else. We're talking about point guard, shooting guard, point guard specifically. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me also know what you think about the Damian Lillard signing. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. And until next time, your boy Ernest out. And that is enough said.